You're listening to the Minutemen, Arizona's independent political talk show.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? You're listening to 107.3, the Minutemen Talk Radio Show. I am your host, CT Rob, broadcasting out of the 623 in the great state we call Arizona. We welcome you to another edition of the fastest-growing talk show in Arizona, the Minutemen. I am joined today by the ever-popular Squid.
How you guys doing?
And the dark Frenchman, Steve.
Hola.
And we got an interesting show for you here today. We're going to be talking about the Korean situation, Chris Christie, and always the Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump, healthcare, and the country's ever-growing divide, and the GOP collusion, today on the Minutemen. But first, I got some shout-outs to Julia KS118, Minions, let's see, we got Aristotle, Jim Harris, Mario, Poem for Trump, Birds of a Feather, Bobby Coleman, Huminiculus Trump, Flywell, David Henderson, Eric Schmitzer, Poll, #Resistance, NH Patriot, Nasty Woman Project, David Skinner. Thank you guys for following us. Alright, so how you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good.
A little uneasy.
Little uneasy? Why uneasy, Steve?
Well, you know, present day America could be better.
And you're right. So let's get started with that week recap, huh?
Yeah.
So, this week, North Korea says they successfully launched an intercontinental ballistic missile. The Koreans gave a sigh of relief, while the rest of the world gave a collected sigh. But not the kind of sigh of relief. That kind of sigh of when the doctors say, well, we didn't see it the last time we checked. Trump asked for voter information from all 50 states, and the response from most, thank God, was no. But my favorite was Mississippi. They said, go jump in the Gulf of Mexico, and Mississippi's a great place to start. Now, Trump went from a private meeting to a more formal meeting with President Trump, but what makes a difference? Like, they don't have phones. In New Jersey, there were reports of a beached whale on a closed beach, but upon further inspection of said dead whale, turned out to be Chris Christie. So it's pretty much the same. Later, while in question, Chris Christie said, I don't regret a thing.
What kind of response is that?
I don't know. So let's get started. Let's actually start about Chris Christie. So after the whole budget deadlock shut down New Jersey's tourist attractions, such as all 40 state parks, and this is right at the beginning of the 4th of July, guys.
Oh, and beaches too.
Yeah, and the beaches, all the state parks. Yeah, Christie was later seen. Then he was photoed on a beach known as Island Beach State Park at the Governor Retreat. That is also supposed to be shut down due to the government. So according to many different polls taken from Republicans and Democrats now, New Jersey's Chris Christie sits at a negative 66% in favorability and has about 15%. I mean, what he did was the equivalent to the president playing golf every weekend on the job. Oh, wait, that happens all the time. That's right. What do you guys think about that?
Good Lord. I mean, he's a clown.
He is a clown. I mean, I saw it on CBS's last night, and when I saw it, I started laughing because, you know, I mean, he does this, but, you know, he's with family. It's appropriate.
It wasn't appropriate at all, actually.
No.
Not at all.
Because he's with his family?
Yeah, I guess since he's with his family, it's appropriate and everything. Like, he shut down...
No,
not even with his family. It's inappropriate and all.
Yeah,
it is very inappropriate.
It's a government shutdown. He shouldn't be having any kind of extravagance, you know, that in the form of government, whether it be the government's retreats on a state park that he closed. I mean, God.
Well, you know...
Family or no family, I don't care.
Exactly.
Dude, is he going to start taking retreats in, like, China now? In restricted areas? It's like, whoa, let's go to Waterworld.
Well, he does have 6 more months. I mean, he might do something crazy.
What,
like
6 more months left in office?
Yeah, 6 more months.
He don't care then. Actually, that's actually what many articles are saying, is that he just doesn't care anymore.
He doesn't care?
Yeah.
Dude's clocked out in his mind.
He's like, I'm going to go do whatever I want.
I mean, that's basically what
you know they probably, the helicopter was flying over like,
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, look at him up there filming me and stuff. He's like, nah, I really don't care.
Right?
You know, that's what the conversation had to go. Is just like, because that look he gives is not one of like, oh, they caught me, you know,
It's
covering my face. It's that look of like, God, don't they ever leave me alone?
Right.
God.
I just want to eat these boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts in peace. Leave me alone.
I'm hanging out here with
sweets.
my family, Squid, and just, you know, enjoying taxpayer money that I shouldn't be, you know, enjoying.
Right.
But, you
Is
know.
that still his nickname, by the way,
What?
guys?
What?
Krispy Kreme. I know that was his nickname.
Was
when he
it
in
really?
Jersey.
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
when he was
I think it might.
in New Jersey. It was
That's
Krispy
hilarious.
Kreme Christy.
No. What?
Probably
Really?
like
Yes,
the
it
best
was.
nickname I've ever heard.
Yes,
That is
yeah, no,
ever heard, Squid? You ever heard?
I
That's
don't
the
know. I
best
might
nickname you
agree
ever
with
heard.
you on that.
Krispy
Krispy Kreme Christy. That's like a wrestler's name.
For him, that's the best name
That
ever.
is a wrestler's name. In this corner, Krispy Kreme Christy!
Would he throw donuts at people too?
Yo, he would eat his opponent.
He would eat his opponent. Yeah, his special move would be the donut hole.
Give it the body slam. Sick and tired of you guys. You just broke my glasses.
Oh my
It'd be like the ending scene in Jaws. He's just on the way. That's another thing people don't understand. Spoiler alert. That was actually Chris Christie eating that fishman at the end of Jaws. He was the
Oh man, Steve, you're brutal. So let's kick things off with another story. So did you guys hear about? I'm sure you guys heard about it. I think the whole world collectively heard about North Korea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately.
I don't think people are actually, you know, really understanding the gravity of this situation when it comes to this. This is a failure of every single administration since the Cold War. Every single one of them. So I don't blame Donald Trump in essence at all, actually, for this. I blame the way he's handled it absolutely atrociously. I will say that. But I don't fault him for what has happened. But given that said, this is actually a very horrible situation. This is actually, if, you know, to many conservatives, this is actually the same situation they didn't want with Iran. This is almost as equal as bad.
Yeah.
The same situation with Iran is the same what we have now with North Korea. We're going to have to bring North Korea to the table because with all the nuclear countries of the world.
Yeah.
And that's in essence going to be a problem because they're a lot more radical than most of the other countries. I mean, there isn't actually, I don't know, but I would say, I guess, besides Pakistan, there isn't that many, I guess, radical. I guess
Right.
Pakistan's not really. I don't know.
It's not really radical.
but it is. It has a lot of jihadist groups in
Yeah.
it. If you know what I mean. And that's what I'm getting at. Is we don't have very many radical countries with nukes, but now we actually have one.
Yeah.
That is going to be at the table now. I mean, I want to get your guys' take on this. I mean, because this is quite a development in the history of the world, not just news in general. I mean, this is in the world. I mean, I actually tweeted the Atomic Research Institute and asked them, is it still 2.5 minutes to midnight? Because this is a situation that has more growing consequences now.
Yeah.
I don't think people are taking it very serious.
I mean, this is tough because I see it personally, sort of good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
I only see it good because it's so bad, if that makes sense. It's gotten so bad that it has to be a good turnout because they're willing to talk. That's what they wanted.
They have to talk.
They
now.
have to. I mean, they're not. I wouldn't call them stupid because they're not.
Who? Who would you? What do you?
North Korea.
North Korea's not stupid.
They're
They
not
developed
stupid.
nukes.
Yeah, but I'm saying how they develop their insanity.
Oh,
There's different ways
yeah.
of being crazy and
Yeah.
just being erratic. They're like a sane erratic. They know to push the U.S.'s buttons just to get what they want.
yeah. They
So-
did their missile test on the 4th of July
Right, on
as a
the-
gift
Yeah, as a
to
gift.
the American bastards.
Yeah.
They said.
See now.
I love CNN's PC remark. They just say Yankees.
Yeah.
The Yankees.
And that's a way to get at America is do it on the birth of the nation.
Yeah.
Do it when everyone's most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And do it when everybody's most scared. Because let's face this, everybody in the back of their mind has that inclination of something might go down on the 4th of July because we're uneasy as a nation.
Yeah.
So
and terrorist groups look to prey upon that.
And they did.
Patriotism, yeah.
But you would say they did though, Rob, right?
Yeah, definitely. That was strategic. They did it on a strategic day. They did it on a day that we knew we'd be paying attention.
Yeah. And being at our most vulnerable. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the day we celebrate our independence and everything. Of course, yeah. And they're in a way they're kind of showing, hey, this is our independent day right here. Because we just launched our nuclear weapons. And now
successful. And now we're
going to have to come to the table. You're going to have to bring us to the table. Now you can't ignore us anymore.
Well, but it's kind of funny is when I think it was before Donald Trump was elected in, he said that North Korea would never be able to get this far.
Well, so did Obama. So did Bush.
Well, yeah, but our national security people did not think that North Korea would be able to get this far, and they basically their jaws hit the ground and
well, yeah,
oops.
Because they're just realizing now how, like Steve was saying, they're not a stupid country. They're smart. They stopped using missile ground testing sites. They started using portable mobile launching platforms. So to launch their nukes in undisclosed locations, because satellites can't sit over one target like that forever. They did a lot of underground testing, too. And most of the weapons they revealed on their parade we never seen before. So that was the day I knew that North Korea is a lot more smarter than we give them credit for. Because, look at them. They're hiding things. They brought them out during that parade, and now look where they're at. And now we're all sitting here wondering what we're going to do about it.
Yeah. You're at your most dangerous when you have nothing to hide, nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And they really don't.
Well, now, dude, they have everything to gain. Because they're going to get a lot from this. People think we're going to be hearing the end of North Korea after this. No, North Korea is going to be in the front of a lot of news because now that they have nukes, they have a card to play. That's why many people don't understand. That's why many countries get nukes is because the U.S. and other countries don't take them seriously. And if you want to say that's not true, look what happened to Gaddafi when he got rid of his nukes.
Yeah,
they immediately took him out of power. Because he didn't have nukes anymore. It's just, and I believe North Korea even cited Gaddafi when they said the development of their nukes. They were like, we looked at Gaddafi. We're not getting rid of our program at all. So that was, I guess that's a consequence by the U.S. on two fronts, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's a price we pay for being negligent.
Not only negligent, but aggressive in Libya, taking out somebody that had, we showed the world, hey, you need nukes if you don't want the U.S. to come after you. That's basically what we showed the world when we invaded Libya, and now North Korea took that to heart, and now that's what we're talking about right now is North Korea with nukes.
Here we are again, and in both situations, North Korea pretty much gaining momentum. I hate to say that, but they are, and American citizens and America just in general kind of dismissing it. Whether it be out of fear or whether it be out of pride, they're dismissing it in the fact. But yeah, it's a little. It's hard to say right now how is it going to look like, a couple of months from now with North Korea. But they've made a great chess move for their country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's definitely a win in their category. They can't be ignored. I spoke to Rob earlier about this. I said it's more of like, you can't. I'm not going to be ignored by my parents anymore. You know what I mean? I'm going to act out, and now mommy and daddy have to address me at the dinner table.
That's exactly what happened. North Korea just grew up today. The other day.
In a way.
In a way, they just grew up.
Yeah, in their way, they grew up.
So let's move on to our commander-in-chief a little bit. It's been a week for Donald Trump, has it not? I mean,
every week.
Just doesn't know when to stop. I just don't know when to stop, guys. I really don't. There was a lot of talk that Donald Trump was hoping that Europe will give him a second chance. Did you guys hear about this?
I didn't know.
Yeah, that Donald Trump was saying that they thought their European trip went a little rocky, so to say. And that maybe because they pandered more to the Middle East than anything. And they just want, they're just hoping that that's why he's heading to Poland and G Summit. He's hoping the Europeans are going to be like, let's give the guy a second chance.
Right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Take me back, please.
But, getting into that G20 Summit, this is, it's going to be interesting. That's going to be the biggest news, I think, on TV is him meeting with Putin. I don't know why people think they would be having some kind of secret discussion in the middle of even if it was behind closed doors, because someone's gonna slip a mic in there. No one's gonna let that happen. I just don't. If the world seriously sat there and let them two have a private meeting behind closed doors, I would be like, "Are you kidding me?" At this point,
total closed doors.
Yes,
I think it would be, or everybody would look completely idiotic and stupid if they let that happen. I mean, you have to have some kind of recording device in there just to make sure nothing is.
Oh yeah, they sweep rooms. Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna sweep the room. But the point is that they let them do it. That's the whole point. So, Trump says, a lot of people are saying Trump is actually heading to this G20 summit to help repair the damage he's done with the European. He's not. He's not. Come on. You know why I don't believe that? Because all the talk you hear about from the White House is about Putin, about their meeting with Putin. That's all you keep hearing about. You don't hear them talking about anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's not love fest between Trump and Putin.
Yeah, for real. It's a really strange time here in the United States to be living in. I mean, we see so many strange coincidences. I mean, we had Chuck Schumer saying it's baffling that Trump doesn't have a specific agenda for the Putin meeting. That's what Chuck Schumer said today.
Wow.
That's what the Democrat minority leader said. That they don't even have an agenda for what they're talking about.
See, and I'm all for winging it in situations, but when you're talking to one world leader to another, and we can all speculate, you need to have some type of agenda what you're going to speak to the man about. Unless you already have it and you don't really need it to be, written down, you don't need it to be documented, you go there and just talk off the records like you guys just talk like old friends.
Yeah.
So,
I actually personally think that's how a lot of politics are done nowadays. I think No, I'm being dead serious, and it kind of goes into our main topic. I'm not going to jump into it right now because we're saving it for the end of the show here. But the GOP collusion, like we were going to talk about, the idea of the lack of evidence of things, this idea of why we can't find evidence, because I honestly believe now people have learned you do not have a paper trail. I mean, come on, let's be honest with ourselves. If you were doing something highly illegal, would you keep a paper trail?
No.
I mean, we've seen movies. Let's talk about, example, Casino. Remember in Casino when they cracked down all the mob, and they pulled out that guy's little blue book, and they're like, oh, all the names, the list, and numbers, thank you, and he has a heart attack and he dies. That's the prime reason you don't keep a paper trail, even if it's to defend yourself. Because even in defending yourself, you incriminate yourself that way.
Right.
And everyone else around you.
But then, people are going to argue, well, that's why you have heat guys. That's why you have the guys that take all the heat from, the media and all the outside sources. They are not truthful.
Yeah.
Heat guys always rat, just like you said with Casino and gangsters and such.
Yeah.
You can never be totally 100% sure about somebody in politics. You just can't.
No, you can't. And
you're never trusted 100%.
I mean, really, am I wrong on this, guys? Do you guys really think that's something that would continue on? I mean, we're talking about sometimes on the show we talk about the evolution of politics and how politics have evolved. I really think that's something that has also evolved in politics, especially when you're being secret, is you don't keep a paper trail. You don't keep one. Who does that? I'm being dead serious. Why would you keep a paper trail? If doing something highly illegal.
That's very true.
Yeah,
you do it with anything. Any type of illegal actions that you're, whatever you take.
I'm not trying to make an excuse for the lack of evidence, because I do believe there is evidence for what I'm talking about. But what I'm just trying to say, when it comes to the secrets of politics and how it's done nowadays, and when we're trying to find, evidence of anything anymore, and they're like, oh, where's that? I mean, I'm not just talking about Russia. I'm talking about I'm talking about the Flint water crisis. I'm talking about Operation Fast and Furious from Obama's administration. I'm talking about, the WMDs we were trying to find in Bush's administration. All those things were based off the secret. All secrets.
Yeah.
All secrets without paperwork, without a paper trail. Why? Because you cannot hold someone accountable.
Yeah. You can't trust anybody.
That's what I'm trying to say. And people say, well, there is some paperwork to the WMDs. Yeah, but not exactly to who gave the order. You didn't see anyone get arrested for that, for killing all the people in Iraq. Who went to jail for that? Tell me.
No one, because
no one went to jail.
You can't pinpoint them.
No, because there is no paperwork. There is no direct evidence.
I mean, what do you think they're going to do? Like, film a YouTube video about their discussion.
That's what I'm saying. And while I'm not discrediting anything, and while I'm saying all those things I just said are true, the fact of the matter is there is not a clear tie. There's never a clear tie anymore. There's always been this. It's just evolved. There was only some paperwork when it came to the WMDs. There was some paperwork when it came to Fast and Furious, and now there's hardly anything when you come to the Russian investigations. The investigations now entirely. Because why would you keep a paper trail?
Yeah.
Why would you keep accounts? I hear people say all the time, yeah, you might as well just cover up the webcam on your computer. Or how many times do we hear people say, hey, don't text it in your phone if you don't want people to know about it. Or don't send it across, in a cloud, or don't send it over email if you don't want someone to know about it. Don't put anything on the internet you don't want people to know about. That's what I'm saying. Is people don't if you're trying to hide things, if you're smart about it.
Yeah, well, if you're smart, that's the name of the game. Usually, greed gets, overpowers smart in most cases, and that's what people are trying to prey on, is making sure who's going to be that person that is more greedy than the other one to expose the next person. But again, that it always goes back to what you said, Rob. Paper trails, that's like the first MO for anything. You burn the paper trails. You get rid of them. You don't want to you don't want the smallest of the person. You don't want the door handler to the conversation to get pinpointed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to burn every single trace. So of course the man's going to say, yeah, he has no agenda going into these meetings. He's not going to be tapped.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
Well,
why would he go? He's not going to be like, I got the papers right here. No, he's not going to do that. Even if he had them.
Well, it makes me think of businesses that are caught in scandals and they have their employees shredding all this incriminating paperwork.
And that is a great point. And what did the Nazis do right after World War II? Even when Berlin was burning around them, they burned all the paperwork to get rid of the paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact, man. I don't know why. I to this day I'm still sitting here going, I don't know why people want to say, oh, you don't have direct evidence. It's like we've never had direct evidence for anything, really. We've always had circumstantial
and speculation. That's what probing is. That's the definition of probing.
No, what you just named is the definition of intelligence. That's what gaining and collecting intelligence.
That's true.
That's the difference between the whole idea of when you say, oh, well, you don't have direct evidence, you just have intelligence. It's like, yeah, because you gather intel on things. You can't just sit there and go, I got it right here.
Right.
No, I listened in on their conversation. I took these letters from his trash can. I did all these things, and I listened in, and I gained access to whatever I had, but this is what it led to.
Right.
But,
you form a piece of a puzzle that points it into that direction. It doesn't give you the exact data, but it points you into that direction. And it gives you a lead.
Exactly.
That's all you can have. That you can ask for.
All right, guys. So let's move on a little bit with healthcare. So this actually comes from the Hill. 5 changes the GOP might make to the healthcare bill. Senate Republican leaders are laboring to secure 51 votes on an Obamacare replacement bill after being forced to delay the legislation until after the 4th of July recess. Leaders likely sent updated proposals to the Congressional Budget Office for analysis before leaving town. But Senate Republicans have yet to lock in new agreement. Every tweak would have consequences, but there are 5 changes that could be made to better the Care Reconciliation Act. Is that what they're calling it now, I guess? Is it keeping tax on the high earners? So this is one change. GOP senators are openly debating whether to keep a tax on high earners that was created to help pay for Obamacare. The legislation that Republicans initially unveiled last week would have repealed a 3.8% tax on net investment income for individuals making more than $250,000 a year. Democrats slammed the proposal as a tax cut for the wealthy, and since then several GOP senators have expressed a willingness to keep the tax to help pay for more generous coverage subsidies. Keeping the tax could diffuse the attacks from the Democrats and win support from Republican moderates, though it could have also spark a backlash from some conservatives who want all of Obamacare repealed. See, the people who want all of Obamacare repealed are like Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Boosting subsidies. If the investment tax is kept, the savings will likely be used to provide larger subsidies to help low-income people afford health insurance. Senate GOP leaders could double the amount of money in the bill's long-term state innovation fund if the tax is not repealed. The legislation, as currently drafted, dictates $62 billion over 8 years to encourage low-income people with high healthcare costs to buy health insurance. Add money to the fund costs address concerns from a variety of moderates that the bill tax credits are not generous enough to help low-income people buy insurance. Some Republican senators have balked at providing a tax for the wealthy without bringing down premiums and are looking for ways to address it. Under the draft Senate bill, people using subsidies to get insurance would either have to pay more in premiums to keep their plan they would have now, or have a higher deductible to keep their premium in line. So they're basically going to be forcing people to keep their health care. People are going to be forcing to pay higher premiums, basically. So it's not going to really bring down premiums. But here's the one I like the most here, the Ted Cruz amendment. Ted Cruz is pitching an amendment that will allow insurers to sell plans that don't comply with Obamacare regulations. Wow. So as long as they also sell plans that comply with those rules, Cruz says that his Consumer Freedom Amendment would lower premiums by giving insurers a path around regulations. Experts are concerned that the amendment would undermine the individual market by allowing insurers to sell plans that might not have all of Obamacare's protections for pre-existing conditions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one was actually they're going to add more money to the opioid epidemic. McConnell last week added to the bill $45 billion in additional funding to combat the opioid crisis. Medicaid changes. Centrist GOP senators have balked at the proposed Medicaid changes in the bill at their backed up their home state governors who accepted federal funding under Obamacare to extend Medicaid coverage to millions of additional people. Winning over the GOP centrists, including Susan Collins and Dean Heller, would almost certainly mean making significant changes to the Senate bill rollback on Medicaid, but doing so would likely generate opposition from Senate conservatives. The Senate bill institutes a per-person cap on Medicaid funding for each state, adjusting annually for general inflation, but medical costs rise faster than other sectors, so experts warn that this would lead to Medicaid becoming drastically underfunded over time. So there's really nothing good in all those changes besides the fact they want to just, save a little bit of the not all of them, just a little bit of the regulations to help pay for Obamacare.
In the beginning, and it slowly dies over time.
Yeah, and it slowly dies over time. So it's really nothing that,
nothing that we're not prepared for.
And we keep getting back to this, and I know me and Squid have had our differences with people on Twitter, but, I don't understand this idea. We've had people sit there and tell us, oh, single payer doesn't work because it's not feasible. What are you talking about? Every modern nation in the world has universal health care. We're the richest country in the world. And you mean to tell me that we can't have universal health care?
No.
You are stupid.
Because who wants universal health care?
No, yeah, I know. I love the people that say, oh, you're going to take from the top 1% and 2% and redistribute wealth? Like that's ever happened? Okay, first of all, do you really honestly believe we would take all the money and commonly and redistribute it among everybody? No. That is a ridiculous, nonsensical point to make. That is a stupid person's argument. I'm sorry, it is. It's a stupid argument to make.
No,
I'm sorry. It really is a stupid argument to make because that would never happen in America. We're not Soviet Russia. We would never do that. When we say redistribute, we mean tax. We mean people that make over $1 million a year. You need to get taxed for that. We have people that are zillionaires. We have people that have over $1 billion. You cannot even spend that in your lifetime. Why do you think they should have it? To hoard it? To keep it for themselves? To keep passing it on to their families? And trust me, there are a lot of people around that live on this planet that just gain money and wealth from their parents and do nothing in life. That do absolutely nothing. And you know what? Some of those people we admire. We do. Some of them are in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
Kardashians.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't believe you mentioned that.
Paris Hilton.
Yeah. I mean, they're
those are people that do nothing with their lives, but they have gained money from their parents.
They have.
That's what I'm saying. This whole idea of, oh, you're going to redistribute the wealth, commie. Stop. That's a silly person's argument. This whole is not feasible. What are you talking about? They have money to bail out Wall Street. They have money to give corporate CEOs. What are you talking about? I'm serious. Whenever somebody says I'm against universal health care, I hope you know and you tell that person you sit on a very slim side of a debate. Even in America, it's 17% who want the ACHA. 17. Yeah, you stand with the majority of America in alternative fact world. I don't understand some of these people's logic. I hear people that say, yes, we've got to repeal the Obamacare because, yes, 17% of us, that is the majority of people. And they'll seriously rant on about how, they won't mention the 17%, but they'll still mention that the majority want it gone. The majority this. What majority are you talking about? You're nothing.
Yeah.
You're 17%.
The majority of the high, rich, and famous, that's the only ones I can think of. That want the replacement of Obamacare, and then
you're right. No, you're right. They had I forget who it was that came out and said, yeah, this would just be a huge tax for me. I wouldn't have to pay this, and I would receive. I mean, it's what I think it's to the top 1-2%. It'd be like $7 million a year in their mailbox just for a tax cut.
Yeah.
You think that's justice? You think that's trickle-down economics? You think that's how it works? What I love the most, and I'm really gonna bash this trickle-down economic system, because what I love the most about that, what doesn't make sense, what I can never get out of a conservative, is when they say trickle-down economics works. It's like, then why do we have some of the most richest billionaires here if they're supposed to be giving their wealth down to us? Yet the middle class and the lower class are so poor, and there's such a divide, but trickle-down economics work. When did they work? You tell me, please, someone tell me. Quote us, tweet us, tell us something, please. I want to know why there's so many rich billionaires, but trickle-down economics works, and like why the middle class is doing so bad. Tell me why. If that worked. We've seen evidence it didn't work. Voodoo economics was what Bush called it, and that's what it was, and that's what it is.
Basically the same thing.
And that's what they're trying to bring back. Yeah. Because we live in a world of alternative facts. That's just how it works now.
If it failed once, do it again.
Because that's the new American way, because we keep just bashing it and bashing it and bashing it, and eventually it'll give way, right? Because that's how it works.
Of course it does.
Because we won every war since World War II with that philosophy, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Because
that undefeated streak of the USA, right?
Let's jump into that real quick before we go to our next break. Did you guys hear that Mattis said we're just getting started in Afghanistan and Iraq? Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
You don't think that's crazy? $7 trillion 17 years later? I'm going to repeat that again for everybody, for all the real conservatives out there. $7 trillion and 17 years later? We're still there. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Have our thumbs up our butts?
Besides, go ahead.
Seriously though,
well, besides,
it's just. First of all, that comment is so ridiculous nowadays to even say that.
Which comment?
To say that we're just getting started.
Yeah.
But not that comment alone. Okay, it speaks for itself of how poor that man's intelligence is.
Mattis?
But
just like you push back a little bit. I actually think Mattis isn't I don't think he's the worst person Trump's put in there. I actually think he's not that worst.
But are you going to nationally say that?
No, I would never say that.
Here's the reason.
I would never say that.
Here's the reason why his intelligence is lacking on this fact. As a person in office, your main concern is obviously to keep people's, under your thumb. That I get what he did with that, saying we're just getting started. But just like you said, the comment of trillions of dollars later.
17 years later.
17 years? Well, I was just about to say that. We're almost in a 20-year war.
Yeah.
Why are we still there?
Yeah, what are we doing
Why were we there 10 years later? Why were we there 5 years later? Why are we here almost 20 years later, and we have people like him making open comments like that to a frazzled nation?
More importantly, where are the Republicans being outraged?
That's what I mean.
Where's the rest of America saying, we did, because I hope you guys know, in Vietnam, it didn't take too long before Vietnam. We were like, what are we doing here? It didn't take too, even in World War II, before we discovered the concentration camps, even the U.S. soldiers were saying, what are we doing here?
That's the thing.
But no, what I'm saying though is it took less time for us to ask what are we doing here in those wars, and now we're sitting here still saying what are we doing here, and it's 17 years later.
Yeah.
How much longer is it going to take? How much longer are we going to take? How much longer is the American people going to take?
And it's the thing where again it's
outrage.
But look, it's so hard because it's like look at the 70s then and look at the 2000s now. Look how frazzled of a nation we are now. Back then, basically, people are like, "Oh, well, it's the same thing." You had people coming back; they were spitting on them and such, and blah 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 blah. But that war did not last long. How long did Vietnam War last, Rob?
I think it was 7 years, wasn't it?
Around 7 years.
7 years,
roughly. It ended in 6, but it was like we had to get everybody out. It ended in 7 years.
If you count the false, I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure. Squid, can you check us on that? How long the Vietnam War was? I'm pretty sure it was.
It was roughly. You're accurate.
Okay.
It's around 7 years.
Go ahead.
It was just 2 seconds.
But around the fact that it's just a different mindset we're dealing with these people now. You're not going to get the outrage like you had back then from the Republicans and Democrats. They were outraged then. You're not going that comment right now. We're just getting started. You're going to get cricket sounds from the right side because, well, maybe he's right. Maybe he is right. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we haven't been approaching this war right. Maybe we do need to
nuke the country. You know,
maybe we need to do that. Yeah, see,
maybe we need to bomb it just a little bit more. I mean, you know, those caves, I mean, they'll give way eventually.
They'll give way. And then here's me. Yeah, you're right. We should bomb them, right? We should bomb them. You're playing into the people's emotions. You're not helping them. You're playing into their fear. You're manipulating them, which is his job. Who's kidding who here? It's the man's job to do that.
Yeah, Matt.
But to make that kind of comment now out this blatantly, I don't know why I'm the only one. Maybe I am crazy for saying this, but I just feel like that right there is the turning point of the Vietnam War or the Iraqi War in the 80s or, you know, World War II, having these radical people screaming or calmly, in his case, coming out and saying that you're dividing the nation even more.
No, we're just getting started.
You're putting them like, all right, let's go ahead and build a bigger line in that sand.
We're already trying to rebuild up the military, not with technology.
Oh no,
you're
not building up. Yeah, you're building up the military, but in my instance, are you really? How much are you building them up? You can build up to a block of Legos just to smash it down in one punch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're doing with the military. And then we're going to get right back on that train of we need to pull our troops out. Why are we still here? Blah, blah, blah. Marching, protests. It's like an endless cycle that we're living in. It's a vicious cycle.
I got a little bit. Go ahead, Squid. You got that number for us?
So, yes, on how long the Vietnam War lasted, it lasted 20 years.
20 years.
Yes, or 19 years and 180 days to be precise.
The negotiations in the war, the war
itself.
It didn't take that long.
It didn't take the war itself. Because we're not even talking about the French. I think you're getting into the whole when the French actually started fighting the South Vietnamese too.
But yeah, it's only just showing that. It doesn't show exactly how long the actual war lasted.
America was there, I'm pretty sure, for like 7 years.
I think.
It was like 6.5, good or take 7
The 20 years you're talking about there is, I'm pretty sure, when the French were there. Well, because you gotta understand that the Japanese occupied Vietnam. And then the French came, and the French occupied it, and then it was split between, the communist North and the democratic South. But there were unfortunately more people in the North than the South, so we had to, of course, prop up the capitalist South. Then the French got defeated, and in the South, and then we had to come in and help them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure though it was 7 years though.
Yes, you are right. It was for 7 years, from 1961 to 1968.
Yeah. And you know, it's really funny because the way we conducted Vietnam is the same way we conducted the Iraq War: search and destroy, not by territory, all by death count. Yeah. And you know, it's really you have no idea, Steve. Same exact traits. Operation Rolling Thunder. We just decided we're going to bomb the North Vietnamese with more bombs than all of World War II combined. Didn't do anything. We decided we were going to bomb the Iraqis and the Afghanis with all the military might we had. Didn't do anything. Search and destroy. Didn't do anything. You know, train the police, train the military once we, disbanded the local military and police. Didn't help.
Didn't help.
We did the same things in Vietnam that we've done in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they didn't work then.
Yes, sir, we did.
Didn't work. I hate to say it, but old warfare should be based on territory, if that shows you anything.
Yeah. And guess what? Villainized for it.
But then, you know what, though? I don't know. I guess that we're going to get a little off topic. But then that comes to the idea of occupation, though, because then we would have to occupy those guns. Well, we are technically occupying them now.
We kind of are. If
no, we are now.
For more than 10 years.
Yeah, we are occupying them now. I don't even know why I said that, because I keep forgetting about all the mercenaries that are there, too, still occupying
that's exactly. I'm like, it's occupied.
All right, so we're actually going to take our first break, and we're going to get into our main subject, which is the GOP collusion with Russia here on the Minutemen.
The reason this is such a big deal is we have this big, messy, wonderful country where we fight with each other all the time, but nobody tells us what to think, what to fight about, what to vote for, except other Americans. And that's wonderful and often painful, but we're talking about a foreign government that, using technical intrusion and lots of other methods, tried to shape the way we think, we vote, we act. That is a big deal. And people need to recognize it. It's not about Republicans or Democrats. They're coming after America, which I hope we all love equally. They want to undermine our credibility in the face of the world. They think that this great experiment of ours is a threat to them. And so they're going to try to run it down and dirty it up as much as possible. That's what this is about, and they will be back.
And you guys heard it from James Comey, and you're listening to the Minutemen's Beyond Classified. That's right. Put on your tinfoil hats with us, because we're going to get down and dirty in the world of conspiracies. And today we're talking about the GOP collusion. Are the top Republicans colluding with Russia? We're going to ask and find out that question today on Beyond Classified. Alright, so before we get started with the story, I just have a message to progressives, to independents, to constitutionalists, to libertarians, to moderate Democrats, to moderate Republicans, to far alt-right Republicans, to whatever you want to call yourself, the alt-left Republicans, to the socialists, whatever. This is something that every person, every American needs to pay attention to, because we are witnessing this right now in our American history, in our democracy, I should say. And this is an interesting subject that we've kind of uncovered and we decided to cover today on the show. And it goes pretty far. Now, until recently, I thought Russian collusion only started and ended with Donald Trump, but I was actually pretty wrong on that subject. There was a article that came out on October 20th, 2008, entitled McCain's Kremlin Ties. That's right. The GOP collusion goes a lot deeper and a lot farther than many people didn't realize. And so we're going to ask some basic questions today, such as, how far did it go? And what's the end game in all of this? And how much have Republicans embraced the Russians, or Putin, we should say. So, as I said, we have a report from McCain's Kremlin Ties. So, this interesting report, it came out of The Nation, publishing. Basically, it talks about how John McCain, during his 2008 run, right, for president,
Yes.
he was given campaign contributions by, then, get this, Davis Manafort and Company. Now, why does that name sound familiar to you guys? Well, that's because Paul Manafort was, and we've spoken about him quite often on the show, Paul Manafort was Donald Trump's campaign manager, who actually had to resign because of Russian ties, because the bank in which he was working for was a state-owned bank connected to Putin. So isn't that just coincidental? So what we found out is that Russia was trying this a lot earlier than previously thought. So they were actually meddling in the elections in 2008, possibly. Which is, I mean, first of all, let's get your guys' take on our Senator John McCain, and what do you guys think about that? I mean, did you guys ever see anything that made you? Because we all know John McCain talks tough on Russia.
Yeah.
He is a big talker of Russia. But you know, it makes me sit there and wonder, could this be another result, as we say, deal's gone bad? I mean, what happened when McCain lost? You recall that, don't you, Steve?
I do. He obviously gave a speech about him losing, the presidential race. Pretty much faded away for a couple months.
He was gone for a while, yeah.
Yeah, came back, and what was the first thing that he brung up?
Russia.
It was Russia.
Russia.
This is just this story is weird because John McCain, he was that AKA maverick politician.
Always that maverick, yeah.
He's that maverick politician. He doesn't
standing up for America.
And he doesn't follow by anybody's rules.
Nope.
And he's always looking out for America no matter what. That was his battle cry, and it still is. So for him taking this,
campaign contribution.
Yeah, from Russia, it's weird because his thing is he loves to call people out. He calls out Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Loves to bash him. If he's gonna talk, bad about me and he's not looking out for Americans, then why should I back him?
Yeah,
that's his thing.
That's what he did here in Arizona.
Yeah, but but he's the same man who's going to vote in his favor.
Every single time.
He's the man who's not going to waver his vote. He's going to talk about it. He's going to threaten. He's done that before. Maybe I just won't vote this year. Maybe I'll just not vote. Maybe I'll vote for somebody else. Talk, and that man is like, peanut butter and jelly. It goes hand in hand.
Peanut butter
but
jelly time.
The thing about him having these ties with Russia, man, it's just so weird to me because I never really thought about it until now, obviously, until this article. This was news to me. But why would you put it past anybody at this point? And why would you put it past him?
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean this. If it's going back from 2008, which was the end of the presidential race, and Obama won, and you know what I mean? So, are you really? And you're going, again, Rob, you're going on this fact that, is this a deal gone bad?
I think it's still going. I think it's still going.
But again, a deal can go
you
bad.
mean with McCain?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He could still be. Is this a man soured?
Know.
Is it a? But I'm saying, is it a man soured at his deal? He's getting backhanded, but he has no power to pretty much fight against it besides just pretty much yelling and screaming. That's his only attack. But he's going to still go in the favor. He's not actually making any ties against it.
See, I actually, this is a question I don't know if I can actually answer because I don't know, Steve.
It's just, at that
I don't
point,
know. It's strange. Like, when I actually found out about this, I was like, what?
Me too.
What? Why? And it
2008,
made me realize, though, and whether, I guess you could say I don't understand McCain. I guess I understand the intent. The intent was to help out McCain during the election. Obviously, that was their intent. But I don't understand McCain's logic of, I'm going to keep bashing them and I'm going to keep doing this and this and this. I mean, now that I know this, it kind of, I guess you could say it's kind. You're kind of right. It does seem like he's just angry about it.
He's just angry. And that's usually what you see from him. Oh, he's angry again. Here he goes. He's out lashing. But again, I'm angry at this deal that I have. I've gotten in bed with the wrong people. Maybe he thinks right now that, hey, it was a bad deal now to his terms. But what attack can he do? He still has to toe that party line. He's still towing the party line as we speak. He's not wavering, but you can shout and scream all you want.
Yeah.
He's still going to be that guy. And that's what makes, again, I'm with you, Rob. I can't, it's too crazy to give an answer. We can only make these speculations, but I could still give my opinion on the fact of not putting it past a man like a McCain or anybody in far-right politics at this point. Forgive me for saying, but that's the truth.
Go ahead, Split.
Well,
you're the Republican here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm the Republican, or legally. But, I mean, honestly, I didn't know about this deal McCain did with Manafort, and, I mean, to me, it makes me wonder if Mitt Romney made some kind of
that's
deal
so funny that you bring that up. That's the next. That's my next. My next part of this is: did Mitt Romney get help from the Russians? No, he didn't. And many people are going to go, "Aha! There goes your guys' whole GOP collusion story right there." Actually, quite to the contrary. It actually makes sense why they didn't back Mitt Romney. Perfect sense, because the Russian religious orthodoxy views Mormonism as a sin, as a type of religion that needs to be faded out. They also believe it is a remnant of the Soviet era. Basically what's left over because of communism gone. That's where it stemmed from. That's what they believe. So, and Betsy DeVos, and we're going to get into Spectrum Health and all in the DeVos's here. They did not feel the need to back Mitt Romney. They said he had enough money as it was. So, did Mitt Romney have any connections to Russia? From what we can tell, no. Mitt Romney did not have any Russia connections. But what's interesting about Mitt Romney is he did warn people about Russia. Now, I'm in no way a supporter of Mitt Romney. I'm in no way a supporter of Obama. But I will be honest. This host will be honest with you. When I first heard the debate, when they were having a debate between Romney and Obama, and Romney said, our greatest foe is the Russians. There is no other foe that is trying to undermine us, trying to attack us like they are. And, Obama said, the 1980s called and wants their policy back. I actually agreed with Obama there. I actually thought we were good in with the Russians at the time. At the time, yeah. But it turns out Mitt Romney was right. As much as I hate to give him credit for, he was actually right. And, you know, I took that right-wing ideology at the time because I was conservative too. I took that ideology as, yeah, we don't need to be fear-mongering. You're just trying to be a warmonger to fight Russia and stuff.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of Americans felt the same way as you did. Like, he was trying to fearmonger. I mean, I remember when he said that too. I mean, I don't know. I think Russia is trying to be a good ally towards us. But after then, just everything going downhill, you just think, oh, I guess Mitt Romney was right. Like he said, I mean, he was right about this. And it's actually kind of scary to give him that kind of a credibility and just everything towards that.
I wouldn't say it's scary. The man, he's not a complete idiot. I mean, even though he came off as one, he did give a valid point there. And, you know, you got to take it to town. You got to give him his credit for saying that because look where we're at now. And, yeah, the Mitt Romney thing, that was one of the things that came when he came on the scene and he was running for
he wasn't that popular.
He wasn't. But this is why he wasn't popular. Why was some of the things he wasn't popular? You just explained.
He was Mormon.
He came from a rich background.
Yep.
And he couldn't relate to the public.
He was not a blue collar guy. He spent his life buying up companies and that he knew were going to fail just so he could collect them.
Right, and that's why people that was his downfall. Who is kidding who? That is why the man is not in office.
Yes.
But does that equate to the man being paid by the Russians? Does the man being in bed by the Russians? I can't. I don't see it from him. But again, that doesn't mean that there wasn't any.
And it gets worse, actually. So you want to talk about somebody who is in bed with some Russians. So GOP candidate Greg Gafferty, you guys remember him? He's the guy who gave the body slam.
Yeah, wrestler guy.
So he actually had financial ties to U.S.-sanctioned Russian banks. In an article done by The Guardian, the story was originally published on the 28th of April. Republican congressional candidate has financial ties to a number of Russian companies that have been sanctioned by the U.S., The Guardian has learned. Greg Gafferty, who is the GOP standard-bearer in the upcoming special election in Montana, owes just under $250,000 in shares in 2 index funds that are invested into Russian company to match its overall performance.
Wow.
So there is a candidate running for a local election right there that has ties to Russia. And did we hear that report went pretty unnoticed, I would say. What do you guys say?
Well, it's a reason why it went unnoticed. The guy had his day in court with the whole reporter incident, but it just goes to show you that everybody, even the minutes, you know what I mean, are not safe from this.
No, here's another one. You guys want to hear something even scary? So remember the Ossoff election?
Yeah.
So here's another one. A new lawsuit claims Georgia's electronic touchscreen voting system is so riddled with problems that the results of the most expensive House race in U.S. history should be tossed out and a new election held. The lawsuit by the Colorado-based Coalition for Good Governance and 6 Georgia voters, basically 6 congressional Georgia voters, was filed Monday in Fulton County Superior Court. It seeks to overturn the results of June 20th runoff election between Republican Karen Handel and Democrat John Ossoff in Georgia's 6th congressional district. Handel was declared the winner. The lawsuit claims Georgia's touchscreen voting systems has severe security problems, lacks verifiable paperwork ballots, and cannot be legally used for elections. So there is another possible hacking that took place in the U.S., and many people are saying that this happened in Georgia. Many people there are a lot of dark web chatter about possible collusion and hacking in the Georgia race. But what I find really, really interesting is this whole remember everyone saying, oh, it's not like they got in there and changed the votes. Well, actually, we found out they did get in there and change the votes just recently. There was a new report about how the Russians did hack. Find me that district that the Russians did actually get into, Squid.
It was actually Humboldt County in California.
And see, that's crazy. That's crazy that was a place that was targeted, being that they knew it would have so many Democratic votes.
Right.
they were going to have to try and change it just at least a little bit.
A lot bit.
Yeah, well, yes, a lot bit. That's insane right there. But this is where this whole conspiracy actually kind of came from for us too. Was Donald Trump asking for voting information? And see, many of you may be saying, "Oh, why did this all of a sudden spark you guys to start talking about this topic?" Because many people are not paying attention to the bigger story that went behind the voting information. One, they said they wanted to investigate fraud. Okay, fine. Two, what they asked for were social security numbers, dates of birth, and party affiliation. Now, later they retracted that story and said, we didn't ask for dates of birth, we didn't ask for social security, we didn't ask for party affiliation, but that's what they asked for first. But that's not the most important part of the story. What is important, and many people may not know this, but here's the most important part of this story. They asked every single state to send this information over an undisclosed server. Why would you do that? And that immediately set off to me this idea of this guy, one, is trying to get himself reelected. Two, this guy is trying to give our information out to the Russians. I really don't see any reason why you would ask for people's party affiliation and then ask it to be sent over an undocumented server. Undocumented. Yeah, unsecure server, I should say.
I mean, you'd want that kind of.
This server's undocumented.
You'd want a secured website server to have all this information so that no hacker could get their little hands on.
No, you don't. You want it open to the public. You want it open to the public.
But
what's the worst that's going to happen? What do you think? Someone's going to hack in?
Oh, and still millions.
Really? Do you really think that? Yeah, a state like California. What's California?
But like how Rob brought up early in the show with which state said that they weren't going to do it.
Oh, Mississippi told
Mississippi.
That was. See, that's one. We're getting off topic here, but that was one of the strange things is that most red states told them no about it. But see, I'm glad this happened because if this didn't, something really bad could have came up.
This would have been bad if it wasn't caught.
Yes.
It would have been super bad if it would have been caught. If it wouldn't have been caught, excuse me.
Okay, so let's moving on here to the rest of the GOP collusion. Another interesting story that actually came out of this whole debacle was House Majority Leader to colleagues in 2016. I think Putin pays Trump. A month before Donald Trump clinched the Republican nomination, one of his closest allies, Congress House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, made a politically explosive assertion in a private conversation on Capitol Hill with the fellow GOP leaders that Trump could be the beneficiary of payments from Russian President Vladimir Putin. There's two people I think Putin pays. Rockebacher, I'm sorry if I say that name, Rockebacher and Trump, McCarthy said. According to the recordings of the June 15, 2018 exchange, which was listened to and verified by the Washington Post, Representative Dana Rochberters is a California Republican known in Congress as a fervent defender of Putin and Russia. House Speaker Paul Ryan immediately interjected, stopping the conversation from further exploring McCarthy's assertion, and swore the Republicans present to secrecy. I believe the words he used were, "You're among family here." What is that? What is that? Okay, so if many people don't know who this guy is actually a Republican who believes full-heartedly in the Russian propaganda. And yeah, he was actually ousted. He was actually gone from office. So this that actually helped sink his seat.
Yeah.
He was gone, but now they're actually talking about how he's actually favored now by the Trump administration. They're actually looking to him for a lot of great things.
Good Lord.
Well, I even looked into the Diana Rodenbacher. He was actually a part of Ronald Reagan's administration.
There you go.
And then, other things I found about him, he has voted for the repeal of Obamacare, and he was he supported the annexation of Crimea, and that's in between
I didn't know that.
Ukraine and Russia. Yeah.
So this guy is a full-on Putin head is what I like to call him.
Yeah, I mean, he
loves that pooty.
He's always, or like in what I found, he's always saying, "Oh, I'm a fan of Putin. I'm a fan of Putin." I'm thinking, okay, thank you. And just seeing this kind of shows a little bit more. I'm thinking, all right, yeah.
And see, let's continue on with some further GOP collusion. Let's look at Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, every step of the way, has blocked the investigations. Every step of the way. From the taxes to the Senate Intelligence Committee, he has blocked everything. Mitch McConnell has done what he's done best, been an obstructionist. Wow. Now, McConnell doesn't have any ties to Russia himself. However, there is one thing the Republican parties do share in common, and that is Betsy DeVos and the DeVos family and their ties to the GOP. John McCain receives campaign contributions from the DeVos family. And we all know that Seychelles Island report of Betsy DeVos's brother, Eric Prince, trying to set up a back channel with the Russians. Did everybody forget about that story? So that's one thing all the Republican parties have in connection is Betsy DeVos pays a lot of the top GOP. And that's what we're getting at in a lot of the story. According to the Christopher Steele dossier, there's many top GOP officials involved in the Russian colluding, and they're very, very okay with it. Why? Let's ask why. And this is probably the most important part of the show, is why. And this kind of led us to why we played that clip for you from James Comey, what he said. Whether or not, and when I said progressives and Republicans, this is what I was talking about. Whether or not you believe the Russians hacked us and changed the votes, whether you believe that, you need to believe that the Russians are trying to undermine our democracy. That whole goal in which they did to make us question what our democracy is, that's happened. That's happening right now. And if you want to say they couldn't have done that, that's impossible. There's no way the Russians could have used some kind of psychological warfare to get in and change Republicans' views, to change the way we think about them, to change the way we vote. Well, back in the day, we once said an attack would never happen on American soil, and Pearl Harbor happened. We once said that was impossible. Then we said it was impossible that terrorists would never attack America on American soil itself. Then 9/11 happened. So don't tell us what is impossible and not impossible, because you have no idea either.
Rob, you're dealing with not the impossible anymore. You're dealing with the plausibles. You're dealing with a nation, like I said, has just been divided, in lack of better terms. You're dealing with a administration that is on fire.
But we're dealing with we're dealing with a new kind of Republican, though.
That's what I mean.
This is what we're not dealing, and this is another part of this story. Is back in the 80s when we were so anti-Soviet. Who else did they connect as being Soviets, communists, Democrats? Now I want my Republican listeners to listen to me very carefully. When I say they pulled a flip-flop on you, they have committed psychological warfare on you. Listen, back in the 80s, why doesn't Republicans vote for a Democrat? Because they're commies. Because they're socialists. Who else were the socialists back in the 80s? The Soviets. The commies. We gotta defeat them wherever possible.
Right.
And then what happened? Soviets fell. And then Russia no longer had the label of communism or socialism, but who did? The Democrats! I still hear that to this day. Democrats are commies. They're socialists. Bernie Sanders, he's a socialist. He's nothing but a communist, wants us to live like Chinese, like China.
Yeah.
Do we not hear that? Is this just me?
No, I've heard it.
But let's seriously sit here and take a look at this. And if you're a conservative, please listen to this. This idea, the Republican Party has this. This is not the Republican Party of the 80s anymore, and I think the Democrats need to understand this. Democrats, independents, you all need to understand. These are not the same Republicans in power. These are Republicans that favor oligarch power. Christian oligarch power. They're anti-gay. They're big into big oil, big business. You know, they love authoritarianism. Look at what Trump's done. They like it. They like to be strong-armed. A lot of people in Alabama said Sessions was pushing a lot of Alabama towards Christian oligarchy with a lot of the laws they passed. And you know, the Republicans are really, it's just so strange of how you can see the flip that the Russians have done. I mean, just for a second, get on your phone and type in Putin NWO and see how many videos pull up of how Vladimir Putin is the defender of the NWO, how Vladimir Putin is the champion fighting the NWO. You know who I hear talk about the NWO a lot? The alt-right. I hear a lot of right-wing conspiracy theorists talk about that. I do. What do you think about that, Steve?
Seriously, I got to give you my honest opinion here. I don't know. You know, with all of this happening, I can only give my speculations on it, but there's like, am I the only one in on this, or do you guys feel the same way? Where there's just so much coming at you guys that you can't make a clear-cut decision.
No, you can't.
There's so many layers, guys, that we don't even know about.
No, and you know, that's funny that you get into that, because one of the aspects of the Mueller investigation is all the people he's putting together. People that he's putting together go deep into financial ties. He is putting together a team that's digging deep. And he even has said, this goes deep. People are saying this goes deep, and it might go as deep as where we're talking here. It may be conspiracy now, but this might be fact soon. But in a way, I don't think that anything will come of it. But I'll get to that at the end. But this whole, I want to get back into the whole Republicans being a lot like the Russians. Because it really is, think about it, it really is true how much they are alike, the Republican government and the Russian government. They are very much similar. I mean, Squid, go ahead. You seem like you want to chime in on this.
They are, and like how you said, like
you're a conservative here, but you're more of an old school conservative.
I am. You know, like when I was doing all my studies, and I found two interesting things out. Like how we were saying, like in how the Republicans are against same-sex marriage. So is Russians, and you know, there was somebody who actually did something that I found interesting is Billy Graham and his son Franklin Graham have actually gone over to Russia to go talk to Vladimir Putin before. Billy Graham helped set up or I can't remember the name of it, but it was a persecution against Christians over there because I guess not too many Christians were able to express their religion in Russia, and Billy Graham thought this was a great idea, and Franklin Graham has been going over there. He had like a 45-minute conversation with Putin by themselves. I don't know if it's discussed, but I mean, it shows to you that how much of a impact Christians can have on different countries, and like even Russia. And one thing I found interesting about Franklin Graham is he is highly racist against Islams and against Islam or the religion of Islam. I don't know if you guys have seen what he's posted and talked about.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand, though, Squid.
I mean, it does, but
Christianity always looks good on paper.
It really does, but then until you get those people who get behind it for bad things. I mean,
but usually documents are signed on paper.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much why worldly spread, and it's so influential to Russians, and why Russians and Republicans now are pretty much the same.
Yes.
It's because the idealistic thinking that
Russia has become a capitalist wet dream. That's what's happened.
Yes.
Russia has become exactly what the Republican Party has wanted America to become. In all essence, it is. Big business rules everything. it rules everything. I mean, they don't care about climate change. They don't care about healthcare. They don't care about
They don't
anything
even care about
over
their
there.
people.
No, they don't.
But here's the thing: if you guys are going to say, "Oh, really? You're going to say that?" Do you think America cares about their people as well?
Do you think the Republicans right now
Do you
care
really
about the
think
people?
that they care about our? We just spoke about the healthcare.
Yeah.
You guys know. I mean, this is what's weird about this. Okay, to me, the same people that complain about how Putin is just a madman. Why would you want to do business with him? You know, why is the United States even just in bed with him? Just cut all ties, right? From the local guy. But that local person does not see the collusions that's going on. You know, it doesn't see the illusions behind
On the
wall.
national scale,
Doesn't
yeah.
see it on the national scale.
They don't know that the Republicans have blocked Trump's taxes. You know, they don't know
that the
They don't know about
Republicans are-
Nunes.
Yeah, they don't know that they're being pressured. Hurry up with the sanctions already.
Yeah, that's so funny that you bring it
Hurry
up.
up with the
Russia
sanctions.
just told us, too, just recently released a statement saying they are growing impatient
In
with the
quotations.
Russian hacking sanctions.
Really?
Really. I would be
They're
like,
at this point where
why do I care about your patience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Why do
But
I
here's
care
the
about
thing.
what you
Do you
interfered
see-
in our elections?
Do you see any representative
No,
from the United
you don't.
States coming out
No
saying,
Republican.
"Why are you saying that?" No, they're not, are they?
No.
They're
No,
kind
they're
of
not.
they're keeping quiet. They're not saying anything that we know of.
And that's because the Republicans don't care. They don't.
Blatantly.
They really blatantly don't care. Because, you know, I know a lot of people that go, oh, I like Putin. I think he's cool. And you know what? I actually had a big favorability of Putin. I actually think Putin, before this whole Trump thing, if you go on YouTube, like I said, and look up anything about Putin, you'll see his documentary, which is a whole complete Russian
That's
propaganda
crazy,
documentary
yeah.
of where it shows
It's
Putin,
crazy.
like, you know, do like flipping the guy
Karate,
over
yeah,
karate,
karate.
diving the deep seas and search
Shooting
of treasure,
guns.
shooting guns. I mean, think about it. That's what Republicans like. They like that. What's one of the things Ted Cruz did on his campaign run? Wrapped a piece of bacon around a rifle and went shooting. He was like, this is how Republicans cook bacon with a gun. Sorry, I don't know why I gave Ted Cruz a Texas accent, but, you know, whatever. This is how Republicans, you know, cook with bacon. There's more Ted Cruz. But,
well, it's kind of funny that you bring up Republicans and their favorability to Putin. I actually found out
let's hear those
the
numbers.
percentage, and Steve, this actually might shock you. It was 30, or as of 2017, it was 32% of Republicans' favorability towards Putin.
that's about Trump's base.
Yes, it is.
Round it, 35.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, it's kind of funny because you would think back to 2015. That number was at 12% for Republicans, and I actually found out the percentage for Democrats too. It's actually at 32%, or no, 23%. I'm sorry, 23%.
Those are Soviet sympathizers.
Yes, and it was 12% back in 2015.
Those are people like Oliver Stone.
And you know, I saw that number. I'm thinking 32%.
That's a lot.
Of Republicans
That like a foreign
like
dictator.
Putin. I mean, are you kidding me? How can you like a person like this? I mean, you must be getting
Kills journalists, silences the press, you know.
Assassinations. Listen, it's the way that it is now. I told you, a frazzled nation will cling on to anything and everything that is related to how they live their everyday lives. They see a guy like that, they think power.
Power.
They think, God, that guy, you know, he doesn't take any mess. He's totally for his country. He's, you know, he's silencing anybody that goes against
You know
him.
what they
we
see?
need to be more
you know what
aggressive like
you know
that.
what you're explaining? Security. And what's the biggest problem with Republicans? Fear. Mostly, actually, I won't even stem them
No,
to
it's all
Republicans.
fear.
It's fear. It's mostly Americans. Fear.
It's all fear.
I think it's gonna be fair for a while.
No, but that's been their tactic, is
Oh.
all fear.
Well, I mean,
It's all.
what else could they do?
No, it's this. You need to vote for us. Are you really going to let them do this to you? Are you really, really, Squid, going to let them take away your dignity and your pride as an American citizen?
It's just really funny, you know. It's the propaganda that's being used too on the Republicans is the same thing Putin uses on the Russian people. Hey, just get in line, you know, follow, do what you're told. we have the trickle-down economics. Eventually, if you be good, you'll get to come to the big board table. Who does that sound like right now? Our president right now. On the world stage, in sense.
Toe the line.
Toe the line.
Justice and prosperity will come, but toe my line. And people are doing it.
Yeah, people are doing that. But this is going to be my last point before we get to the end of the show, is this divide and this psychological warfare has played out so much to the point of where there is Republicans saying that liberalism needs to die, that Democrats need to die, that Democrats need to be vanquished, like there's some kind of opponent, like there's some kind, like they're the foreign enemy.
Yeah, like they're the evil.
Like they're the evil ones. And if you're sitting there saying to yourself as you're listening, saying, yes, that's what I like. I am like that. I do want the Democrats to die. I want liberalism to die. I like the whole Russia thing. Then you need to step aside because you are not for democracy. And you are the most un-American in this country. Those of you who believe that ideology of that Democrats need to be vanished, they need to be wiped away, you are a problem. You are the divide. That is not what America is founded on. America is not founded on one party taking over, one party destroying the other party. It was always about compromise and freedom and the ability to compromise with the other party to make changes and policies. And you want to sit there and say, no, that's not what we need to do. We need to get rid of liberalism. Well, that's sad. That's sad. That's a poor way to think. Because you're not talking about democracy. You're talking about a dictatorship. And that's where we're headed if this country can't get in gear with compromise. If you as a Republican and you as a Democrat can't see eye to eye on issues, then what is the point? There is no point no more. Then you're just and you know who gets destroyed by that? America. America is the victim of your divide. And maybe because of your collusion too. And I think that's the real sad things, because lastly, one of the reports that came out was some of the top intel in the intelligence the Senate Intelligence Committee said that they believe some Americans were helping with the Russian hacking. I believe it. We just gave you the numbers.
Why would you not believe it?
I gave you the numbers. 35% of Republicans believe it. 32 favor Putin, sorry. So yeah, I believe it. Do I believe Americans would undermine their own democracy? Absolutely.
Yes. They get what they want?
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that, and this is my final point, that the GOP colluded with Russia. Why? Because they are part of a failing ideology. Their ideology is failing. And you can't say that's not true, because that's why you have the Electoral College. Because if you didn't have the Electoral College, you would lose every election. Because in every modern nation, that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. And that's how every modern nation conducts its elections. So if you want to sit there and say, nah, Trump won. No, he didn't. He won the Electoral College. He didn't win nothing. And I'll keep telling every single Republican that says, nah, he won the popular vote. No, he didn't. He won the Electoral College. And that's why I think, they're fine with everything going on. We make the joke all the time of the GOP's unlimited power. They're not going to get rid of that power.
It's a truth.
But that power, to me, not only did they go so disgustingly gross and sell the country off to get back that power because they were so fearful, because the black guy beat them twice, that they knew the girl was going to beat them, that they had to jump in and use the Russians to help them win. That's literally what they did.
I mean, hey, when your back's against the wall, Rob, you're going to do whatever it takes.
Steve.
Exactly,
Steve.
Whatever it takes. But here's the thing. You're going to do whatever it takes to win, right?
By any means
once
necessary.
Once you've won, Rob, you have to
pay them back.
You've got to pay the price.
And what are we seeing right now from the GOP? Everything possible to uplift lift Russian sanctions and help Russian oligarchy. That's all we're seeing. And if you're perfectly fine as that as a Republican, then I don't know what else to tell you besides you're un-American. If you think furthering another country's agenda but our own is making America great again, putting America first in policy, then I don't think you know what policy is. That's going to do it today for the Minutemen, guys. I'm your host, CT Rob, with the Dark Frenchman, Steve.
Yes, thank you.
With the ever-popular Squid.
We'll see you guys later.
And we'll catch you guys on the flip side.